Fucking dude doesn't like it. Fucking like
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I didn't like Terminator.
He didn't like
either.
Terminator either, for the record. All right.
Fucking like aliens.
Oh my God,
right,
we're gonna
all
leave
right.
that there.
Fucking Prometheus. What was it called?
So, Alien, whatever, Covenant.
Did you like Emoji Movie or whatever?
Yeah, I did.
All right then.
All right. Well, regardless,
You like a fucking shark movie. What was it called?
Oh, the Meg.
Listen.
Oh, it was so
Yeah,
bad.
the Meg.
It was so bad. It was good.
all right, so we got out of Dr. Sleep, as Newman put it.
That put me to sleep.
It put him to sleep. Look, I was thinking the same thing too. I was wide awake and I enjoyed every bit of it. Angel?
I liked it. For someone who has like no investment in the franchise at all, and for like just going to see the movie for the sake of seeing it, I thought it was good. It kind of got me like it drew me in. Like I kind of wanted to know more about these like vampire fear ghost
Can we put a
things.
disclaimer in
Fucking
here?
Dementors.
What about
That
spoilers?
Angel has never seen the
I've never seen
Okay,
The
so
Shining.
Angel, yeah.
I'll let you know that. I have never seen
Well,
The
this is
Shining.
kind of interesting
Or
because
if I have seen The Shining, it was like when I was 3 or 4, so I don't
well,
remember The Shining.
you haven't seen it. I've seen it, but it's not like one of my favorite films or whatever. I thought it was solid,
I
and
rewatched
it's one
it
of yours.
recently. I
and you love
rewatched it like a month ago, maybe. So
meant to
it was
watch it
very
again.
fresh in my mind.
So you love? Is it like
I
one of
love
your-
The Shining.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson's
Oh,
one of my.
Jack Nicholson's
He's
such a
one of my
tool.
all-time favorite actors. He's the OG.
He stole my balloons.
Yeah. Where's he getting all those wonderful toys?
I'll say this. So
I
this
would have
is,
like jumped out of my seat if he somehow showed up in this one.
Yeah, all right. So I will say this. Every single scene with the original wife, Shelley Dugan, I think her name. I forget her last
Shelley
name.
Duvall.
Duvall. Every scene with Shelley Duvall and the Jack Nicholson look-alike. This is a case
That guy
where.
did not look like Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
I was
hair.
gonna say a lot of the like I don't know if the actors look similar, but I don't think they nailed it
Nailed
really
it.
with like
The lady who played his mom was
Well,
Alexandra Eska.
Well, I'll just say this. This is a time when I think, like, we have all this digital technology that we could... Why didn't they utilize it for this?
like
One
that movie
time,
The
man.
Irishman that's out now. They made De Niro look super younger. Why didn't they just do that now?
What about
with
for
this?
Terminator? We just saw it. I'll say that. Like, that looked like a young Lena Hemson.
Young in Terminator.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But long story short is that, like, this would have been a great time to utilize it because, like, it's hard to believe them. Now, when they're reenacting the scenes from The Shining, it works. But, I mean, like, for the most... Go down here. But for the most part, like, I don't know. I just felt like, as a whole... That kind of took me out of it in a way because it felt like a cheap knockoff remake. But beside that, I'll say this. I think Dr. Sleep, this is a bold statement, is, in my opinion, more solid than The Shining.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Threw up in my mouth.
All right. Look,
So, all right. So here's my take on
All right,
this. I kept comparing it to The Shining, which is probably a detriment to me. I should have just judged
like there are
it
two
as a
different types of
standalone.
movies.
To me, Jack Nicholson is so captivating in The Shining. I wasn't bored once with that. This one, I must have checked my phone like 4 or 5 times.
Really?
It just was. They could have cut a lot out. I feel like it didn't pick up until the end when they got back to the Overlook Hotel. And I don't know, like the ending was like kind of anticlimactic. It did come full circle, but I kind of just was like, okay, it's over. Like I wasn't like,
wow.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm like.
All right. No, that's fine. Everybody's... All right, Angel, I'm going to gush,
I definitely liked it. I've never I'm gonna go ahead and say I've never seen The Shining, so to me I wasn't really comparing it to anything. But
that's a good thing.
I go in thinking, all right, this is like a what's his name? Who's the author? Fucking
Stephen King.
Stephen King. So I'm thinking, all right, it's a thriller, and I feel as a thriller it lived
Yeah,
up to
this
it.
definitely wasn't horror. It
This wasn't
really
a horror. This
scary.
was definitely a
It was
thriller.
more like-
And as a thriller, I'm like, I was intrigued. Like, I wanted to, I kind of want to read this book just because I've seen this movie. And I always, like I say it all the time, you've probably heard me say it before, that if you have something that's based off a franchise, you always want the people, when they see the movie, to go back to the original franchise. And I feel like this movie does it. Like, I would love to
Yeah.
see what kind of details they left out.
You were mentioning in the theater when Rebecca Ferguson's character's walking up the stairs, like, oh, you think I'm the only one? I'm just the prettiest.
I'm like,
oh, they can really,
They
like,
could
do
really say
something.
there's more of these things. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of ways. I loved a lot of scenes imagery wise. Like I loved how he's walking. I felt like it was a boring scene, but I liked how when he's walking through the castle, the hotel, all the lights are kicking on, as he walks through, and then when the girl walks in, the lights get brighter. I thought that was a cool imagery.
I do think
I felt like they could have cut it out and just had him go straight to the bar.
Yeah. They could
And
have
have
cut.
the
They
whole
could have
speech.
cut. They could have trimmed some of it to make it more streamlined, like quicker. I think they got a lot of the cinematography right. A lot of like, I don't want to say like drone shots, but they did a lot of like the cool aerial shots.
Yeah, like a
from the
bird's eye
first
view.
one.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know, like, I guess I'm not like a big Ewan McGregor person, but like, to me, like, he if you compare him to Jack Nicholson, there is no comparison.
Well, he was a very
Okay,
he was
true.
very toned down.
Yeah,
There was one
but
scene that confused the
I
fuck
feel
out
like
of me.
the little girl completely
Had more personality.
Stole the
outshined
show?
him
Yeah.
in like every
Pun
way
intended.
possible. Yeah, pun
But that's the thing. I
intended.
felt they did that on purpose because if you look at their personality types, she embraced the whole Shinanen thing,
Yeah.
whereas he like kept it repressed. So like his character-wise, if you notice, is very repressed. Doesn't show emotion.
See, and
doesn't show hers. On
yeah.
the other hand, is very like vibrant.
Open.
Like she's like challenging. She's rebellious, and like
Like,
I felt like that's why.
To me, like, McGregor just kind of, I don't know, like, he didn't really have to act too much.
Oh,
Like,
man.
it just
I-
was like,
in all honesty, I feel like
don't get me started. That's it.
I feel like you could
Nah.
add his character. You could
I
literally
could have
take his
fucking did a
character
better
out
job of that.
and still have a good movie.
All right, look.
I love Ian McGregor. I'm not gonna lie. But I
I'm
felt
putting my
like his-
foot down for this.
His character
he
was
was on
only
my
there
ass.
for flashback. It wasn't
Nah.
there for like any
Ewan
other-
McGregor killed it, all right? Now, obviously, I'll say this.
I liked him better in the beginning when he was like a drunk
A drunk?
asshole.
No, that's
He
the
was
thing.
more
And it was
interesting.
so cool to see his recovery because easily it was like, okay, he obviously had like this. You're right, he was suppressed. But it was nice to see that progression where he's like, I don't want to do it because he's scared. He like, his character comes full circle.
Yeah.
And hands down, Abra, the little girl who was stole, you're right, she did steal the show. I think she's possibly one of my favorite child actress, like, because it's so hard to get kids in movies, but she sold it.
Kids
All
that
of her,
can emote well, and act
Exactly.
Like, you know, whiny kids.
all of her dialogue
This will
was just
definitely like launch her career.
for real. If
sure.
it doesn't, like, Hollywood is stupid. I'm like, hands down, like, it's just she's so good in the role, and like her
badass.
dialogue when she's fighting Rebecca Ferguson in the mind thing
Like,
from.
abracadabra, can I get my 2.5 hours back?
Damn, he's hating.
That I feel like this movie didn't have to be 2.5 hours.
And it's her planning, like, because I still love the forest scene, man, where it's like, okay, like, you
Yeah,
think,
that was cool.
you know it's a trap, and then it's like, because they have their posse of, like, the people who hunt them down.
Right, yeah.
And she just comes in, and she's like, huh, okay, now you're good. And that was her trap.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, like, that's really
Or when she-
maniacal.
I like the one where she traps her in the head for the thing first.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like when they're first fighting, you would not eat because it's like, oh yeah, you're leaving it there. Like she set up that whole trap from the start.
Yeah.
Like she knew, like the hunted become the hunt. Like oh my gosh, or the hunter became the hunted. There we go.
Yeah.
But I'm in love with this movie.
How about the one guy just like went with him to go hunt these things? Like he didn't even ask.
Oh, the poor friend.
Any question.
They hinted that he has it too,
Okay.
because he
Did
said.
they?
I knew there
Yeah,
may have
'cause
been
remember
something more to him.
he
But no
says-
steam came out when he killed himself,
No, but
though.
he says, the one guy says, he's like, I got this thing where like I can see people.
And their good intentions,
I get a feeling about them. And then McGregor's character later on says, some people, she's like, is there other people like us? And he's like, well, some people have it. All people have it, but some people have it to a point.
Shine
that-
it, yeah, more
some
than
shine it
others.
brighter
There's
than
something
others.
more to
He
him,
says
or else
some
why
people-
would he just like?
So,
go
he's
with
like,
it?
some people just instinctively know, like, oh, bring flowers when my wife's sad. I think
Yeah.
he had a
That's
similar
true.
version. It was just toned down.
Yeah.
Because remember, they said that like alcohol, drugs, and stuff, it muddles it
It
up.
suppresses.
And they're
yeah.
both recovering alcoholics.
And that's another thing too. I was
it's
gonna
like-
say his friend I really felt for. Like, not only was he cool,
Yeah.
but I'll say this. Dude was a G. He's like, all right, because we obviously didn't see the scene because, they were like 2.5 hours. It's already long as it is. We can't be given this subplot. But, like, he was like, all right, we're going to drive, find this body and everything. He's like, okay. Like, he was a good friend. I felt bad when he shot himself, man.
And he's like my best friend, and I'm like, he really is. 8 years, and that guy literally. helped
Yeah.
his life together.
At a sweet price of rent, $85
That's
a week.
yeah, it's like 3 something a month.
Definitely the best scene by far was the
The dad drinking.
when the dad drink and he's like, "Do you guys want some?" And
He,
they
like,
both just
he
kind of
doesn't
look
even
at each
say.
other.
He's
Like,
just like
no.
pours his drink, takes a shot, looks at
Really?
them, pulls the
Father.
bottle up, and then they're like, no. They're both like,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, the best scene, I don't know. I think I'm still going to have to go with any scene that Abra's in was solid. Like, I love her character. Like, it's just, she's so ambitious, and for a young kid, like, I think, honestly, I'd pulled her higher than Ewan.
Really?
She's no Jack Nicholson, obviously.
yeah,
but-
she's definitely better than him.
This was
Yeah.
a good movie. If I could have changed anything,
Ewan.
it would have been the ending, and this is how I would have changed it. I would have had it, instead of burning, I would have had it end where the lady gets eaten.
Oh, yeah.
I would have had Ian McGregor die in the steps, and then I would have had her come down, pick up the hat, put it on, and walk out.
Yeah, that would have been
And
cool.
and then I would have done the whole building burning, and that would have been cooler. Because then it would have left you open, like, oh shit, is she gonna go bad? Because like if you notice, she's like we're very similar.
Yeah, and
And she
that's-
was like when she watched the one guy die, I was like, holy shit! And like every time she was in front of someone watching him die, she's like, you deserve this.
Oh, yeah.
What you get.
And that's the thing. I love it. She's like, you know, you did this.
She even
So-
really like? Did she even react like when her dad died?
No, she
She
did.
never saw her
She
die.
cried in the because she was crying in the car. Because remember when she got
Okay.
kidnapped, she was
like,
like,
"What
"You
happened to
killed
my
my
dad?"
dad. What happened to my dad?
right.
And
A lot
he's
of good
like-
people died today.
"A lot of
Like,
good people died."
oh
He's like, and the
damn.
outcome stays the same.
I like
My
that they
people died.
used like the same old music, and then they used
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
even the opening title or the opening WB logo was kind of like old school looking.
They actually
stuff.
used more than that. There were a couple Easter eggs. One of which, her house number is 1980, which is when The Shining came out. But I was going to say, when he's talking to the one dude where he finds his watch, that's the same office when they're telling Jack Nicholson's character from the
Yeah,
first movie
yeah,
about the
yeah.
hotel. So I was like,
I had a hunch that
I
was
was
that.
trying to
Yeah.
figure
I
out
wasn't sure,
why
though.
was that guy? Why is his scene there? Was it literally just so that he could get a job at the hospital?
yeah, pretty much. And I know that, is it dragging down and boggling down when it comes to the time? But I really like the fact that Hugh McGregor in the beginning of the movie, to get himself back on his feet, damn, that's The Shining.
Shit in it.
Whatchamacall, he goes like from room to room in hospice care, and the cat follows him. Like, I thought that was so touching. It's just like, damn, and you really feel for it. And that's a cool gift. Like, right before they die, it's like, hey, I get to touch them and see their last memory. Like, to me, there's
So that's
just
like, are they just dying and he's like purposely implanting their last memory,
well, no, he's more of comforting them.
or is he
It's-
bringing it out?
Well, it's like they're suppressed. Most people, when they die, especially in hospice care, like they're by themselves, obviously. They're just bedridden. So it's like, so he's there to be like, that's why they call him Dr. Sleep, because it's like the last person you see before you go to sleep. I'm like, all right, cool. I think that the blonde that they focused on with the whole touching thing, while her character was necessary as an introduction to like the crew, that did drag on a bit.
The pusher.
Yeah, they
the
almost
one-
could have cut that.
Yeah,
You
because
really didn't need her.
they didn't do
her-
anything
I
with
just-
her
I
after
thought her
that.
character was going to be around longer. Like I thought, I definitely sensed like a betrayal.
Because they show her like super early in the movie
Yeah.
theater scene, and then they
Yeah.
kind of don't.
They don't. I think they obviously. I
She
think they
doesn't,
just
like,
showed
make
her
it
to like
that
show that
far.
like these people don't just like kill people. They take people
Yeah.
and like.
Yeah, and you know what? That's another thing too. There was a lot of subliminal messages in here about like child molestation, trafficking,
and all that
everything like
stuff,
that.
yeah.
Because like even that girl, going back to
Yeah.
that, she said you're going to look at the scar, because she was at first good. She was targeting every single person who
Well,
was
no,
a
that's-
child
that's
molester.
the- Well, she was.
Okay,
she's a
yeah.
vigilante, so I guess yeah, she's
It's-
essentially Batman.
Okay, yeah. So she was targeting every single person who was a child molester, because she was like, "Oh, I thought you were younger." There's that. There's the really brutal scene, which actually didn't affect me that much, where they're killing the one boy, and you actually physically see him like
Choking on
dying,
blood and shit.
choking on his own blood. Like, it's just like, it's rough, because this kid is like what, like 7 or 8 years old.
Something like that, yeah.
And then obviously the first thing that Hugh McGregor says to Abra on the bench is like, we shouldn't be seen together because like it's weird, a
This
grown
is
man.
a grown man talking to a
And
teenager.
I like how real this movie
Even the look
is.
his
Yeah.
friend gave him was like he saw him with the girl. And he's like, there was a scene where he's kind of like looking like.
No, but it's a lot of things where they really like not really hit home, but more of like they hit to what.
They don't shy away
happens.
from to what
Yeah.
it could be viewed as. Because even the dad, when he's like, "Your Uncle Dan," she's
Yeah,
13,
the first thing he
yeah.
does is like
Yeah, he
freaking
gets
jump
mad.
him,
He's like,
Yeah.
"Did you
and then
show
takes
him?"
a drink. Like, yo.
Well, I thought that was really cool how she like basically gave him like a fast forward of what they saw,
Yeah.
and like it was instant belief. Like he, Like, I don't know if anyone else touched, because some people's first thoughts would probably be like, well, just because he saw it doesn't mean he believes
He did it.
But, like, I'm assuming it implies that, like, he feels and sees everything she saw when it happened. So, like, instinctively you would believe it because you can feel the pain it's happening.
Supposedly Stephen King likes this a lot better than the other one.
The Shining?
Really?
I forget why he hated the other one.
He hated it
so
because it
much.
wasn't a direct adaptation of
Well, no
of
one's
his
going to
book.
directly adapt, like, what?
I know.
Apparently, this
1,500
one did.
pages?
Is it really? 1,500 pages?
For the
Actually,
Shining?
I don't know how long. I'm confusing that with it.
I
There's
know
so many
it
freaking
is.
books, it's like ridiculous.
Well-
It's the king.
This guy's fucked up mind.
It's all in Maine. This
I-
is the only one that
Thinking
takes
of all
place
this
outside
shit.
of Maine, right?
What?
This one takes place outside of Maine, right?
Nah, I thought it was.
Because they ended up in Colorado, right?
Colorado,
I was
where
gonna say,
the
no, usually
hotel is.
he's the one that does everything like in Maine, though, right?
Yeah.
There's like New Hampshire and Colorado and stuff.
That's where except for the scene where she's like flying and everything, yeah.
That's it.
That
Well,
was kind of weird.
I love
When
it.
she like got
Flew.
hit back, was like tumbling in the air. I was like, all right, this is
I
a
guess
little
it was
weird.
the implied.
I was
that
all about it.
So much like she wasn't pushed out.
It was like this scene when Carrie Fisher like floats through.
Flying. Oh,
No,
boy.
I think it was to imply like how hard she was pushed out.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go around for final score. I was on the border between a. All right, I'm on a border between a 3.5 and a 4. Newman, what are you
I'm
gonna
gonna.
give?
He's gonna give it a
I feel
2.
like I hated on this a lot. I did give some positive points.
Yeah, it's a
I'll go 2.
2. All right.
I'll go 2.5.
No. You
I'll
want
go
a
2. I'll go 2.
All right.
I'm going to Jared on this one.
I might give it a 4 actually, because there wasn't. You know what? No, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because there were parts that dragged. So 3.5.
I'm giving this a 4. I know.
Really?
After Joker and
It's
Doctor
over there with
Sleep.
Shazam.
Yeah, Joker and Doctor Sleep, great films of the fall, I guess. And then
Joker's still my top film
Yeah.
of the year.
Joker's good. I don't know if it's my top.
I give it 4 magic tricks thanks to Rose the Hat. She might kill kids, but
She made it.
she also can kill.
She was
a
some-
good
she
villain.
was
She was a
sexy.
good-
Yeah, I was about
Okay.
to
The
say.
scene where they're on top of the camper
Oh,
or
the
whatever,
camper
the
and
way she like gets up, I'm
Yeah.
like, hey,
I'm
like the way she like went over to the guy, I was like, whoa.
Rebecca
That was a
Ferguson.
weird, like, the whole gang dynamic is weird. Like, who's fucking Harry?
It kind of reminded me of like the Manson murder crew.
And stuff.
I'm just like,
And the
damn.
one weird old guy. And
Oh yeah, he's like you knew he was gonna die, and I love that because they are cannibals. The moment they like back
dies.
up, and it's like give them their moment. The moment he turns to dust, they
They're like,
just
boom, they swarm, man.
animals. All right, so that concludes this podcast. Until next time, this is Jared.
Newman.
Angel.
All right, and we're bringing more to the table. That's the first time I say it. Like,
Is that the first time
this
you
is the
said
first
it?
time
And
I-
that's how you said it?
well, I'm wondering how to say it.
You said it.
It
You
got,
said
like,
it all
mad
hesitant.
quiet
Like
when
you
you
weren't
said it.
sure if you were bringing more to the table. Like, oh shit, did I forget to bring this?
I could say we're out, but I mean, how does that? How should
Say
it be
with
said?
confidence, man. Put some bass in your voice.
We're bringing more to the table.
Bring some of
There
that
you
big
go.
dick
There
energy.
you go.
All right.
We're bringing more to the table. Say it in like a.
What are you, a mobster?
Yeah, do it in
Italian
do
mob?
it in an Italian accent.
Bring more to the table.
We're bringing more to the table. Along with Mama's
But
linguine.
scroll it. Some meatballs. We're out.